Are you truly free? Free to decide your actions and shape your life? Or are you merely a spectator, a pawn with no power over your own life? It's a question that often gnaws at us, isn't it? You may believe you're piloting your destiny, whether it's as simple as what you'll have for breakfast or as complex as your life choices. But what if it's all an illusion? What if the universe is dictating your life like a script, and you're merely acting it out? Consider the scenario of choosing a career path. You might think that you've selected your profession out of sheer passion and aspiration. However, your decision could be influenced by factors beyond your control, from societal expectations and familial pressures to economic circumstances and educational opportunities. For example, someone might aspire to be an artist but end up in a corporate job due to the need for financial stability or lack of support for their creative pursuits. Are these external influences shaping your choices, or are you genuinely free in making them? It's a complex interplay that often leaves us questioning the true extent of our autonomy. Well, we perceive freedom every day. When you chose to watch this video instead to simply scroll past it, that was an act of free will. Your ability to chart the course of your life, free will is the essence of human relationships. The ability to be in control and hence responsible for your actions. It forms the bedrock of our moral and legal framework. Now the question arises, is free will even possible? Or is it a concept incompatible with the laws of the universe? Let your thoughts venture into this question as we ponder about two main philosophical schools of thought. The first one claims that our physical existence, made up of cells, proteins, and particles, merely follows the laws of physics, devoid of any will or freedom. But can this be the entire truth? What about quantum mechanics, which operates on a level of randomness and unpredictability that tip the balance of determinism? The second school of thought is known as compatibilism. Compatibilists argue that free will and determinism are not mutually exclusive. They claim that even if our actions are ultimately determined by prior causes, we can still be considered free as long as we act according to our desires and intentions, free from external constraints. This notion hinges on the belief that the mind, while governed by physical laws, possesses an emergent property, consciousness. Consider a situation where you're presented with a moral choice. You have the urge to act selfishly, but through introspection and consideration of your ethical beliefs, you decide to act altruistically instead. Compatibilists would argue that such decisions are a demonstration of free will because they're guided by internal deliberations rather than external forces. In this view, our ability to reason and reflect grants us a form of freedom even within a causally determined universe. A spiritual approach to free will introduces a transcendent dimension to the debate. According to various spiritual traditions, free will is seen not just as a mental or physical phenomenon, but as a fundamental attribute of the soul or spirit. In Islam, free will is balanced with the concept of divine predestination, qadar, where human beings have the ability to choose their actions, but ultimately, everything happens by the will of Allah. This approach posits that human beings have the intrinsic capacity to make choices that transcend mere biological or environmental determinism, guided by an inner moral compass or divine influence. For example, in Hindu philosophy, it implies that while our past actions influence our present circumstances, we retain the free will to choose our actions in the present, thereby shaping our future. Similarly, in Christian theology, the idea of free will is often tied to the belief in a divine plan, where individuals are endowed with the capacity to choose between good and evil, thus playing an active role in their spiritual journey. This spiritual perspective adds an additional layer to the conversation about free will, suggesting that our choices are not just about navigating physical or mental constraints, but are also deeply intertwined with our spiritual growth and purpose. It invites us to consider whether our decisions serve a higher purpose and align with a greater cosmic order, ultimately offering a more holistic view of human freedom and responsibility. Yet, the debate doesn't end there. Neuroscientific research has added another layer of complexity, revealing that many of our decisions are made at a subconscious level before we become aware of them. This finding has led some to argue that our sense of free will is merely an illusion, a post hoc rationalization of decisions already made by our brain's neural circuitry. Despite these revelations, human beings continue to find meaning and accountability in the belief that they possess the power to shape their destiny. The proponents of free will argue that trying to understand it through the lens of deterministic laws is a futile task, akin to trying to explain the galaxy by examining your digestion. Free will, they argue, is an emerging property of the collective interactions of our neurons in our brain. Like wetness is an emerging property of a sextillion H2 molecules. Your brain, a complex network of neurons, hosts your consciousness, your character, your desires and fears. It is where the concept of you takes shape. Even though the intricate workings of your brain remain largely a mystery, you do play an active role in shaping your reality on this level. So, what's the verdict? Do we truly have free will? Well, we don't have a concrete answer. But the argument for free will appeals more because it acknowledges the complexity of the universe. Even if free will is ultimately an illusion, it hardly makes a difference for our practical lives. After all, even if our fate was determined by a divine plan, or if our cells were being nudged randomly by quantum forces, our experiences and our subjective feeling of freedom remain unaffected. As long as you feel like you're in charge of your decisions and actions, free will that feels real is good enough. So what are you going to do next? Explore more about the fascinating world around you, or start a debate over free will with your friends. Remember, it's your decision. Or is it really? But the decision to reclaim control over how the world is framed for you is something you can take charge of. Thanks to Ground News, it brings together diverse information from around the globe, helping you to view the world through an independent lens rather than through biased algorithms. Embracing the complexity of life and the debate surrounding free will can be empowering. Whether free will is an absolute truth or an elaborate illusion, the perception of being in control of your actions is essential to living a fulfilling life. The power to shape your destiny lies in your hands, or at least it feels like it does, and that can be enough to drive you forward with purpose. Take a moment to reflect on your aspirations. What are the things you aim to achieve in your life? Use the belief in your capacity to make conscious choices as a catalyst for action. Remember that every small step you take towards your goals is a victory of your will over inertia. Whether it's pursuing a new career, cultivating a new skill, or committing to personal growth, the journey begins with a single decision. Don't be afraid to dream big and to act boldly. Obstacles will inevitably arise, but they are also opportunities for growth and self-discovery. Embrace challenges with the mindset that you have the power to overcome them. Your resilience, determination, and passion will serve as your greatest tools. And always keep in mind the importance of perspective. In a world filled with diverse information and viewpoints, the ability to critically analyze and understand differing perspectives is invaluable. Seek knowledge, stay curious, and ground your understanding of the world in facts. So, what will you do with your sense of agency today? Seize the moment, take deliberate actions towards your dreams, and live a life that you're proud of. And no matter the outcome, know that the journey itself is a testament to your strength and resolve. Remember, it's not just about where you end up, but the path you take and the experiences you embrace along the way. This existence may be scary and fraught with unknowns, but isn't it also an exciting, universe-sized playground? Embrace the philosophy of optimistic nihilism and carve out your happiness in this transient existence. For what matters is not whether free will exists, but whether we live our lives to the fullest with the perceptible freedom that we possess. If you enjoyed this perspective, make sure to subscribe and like the video to exercise your free will.